Good evening, I'm Paula Todi. After a standoff lasting more than 20 hours, a military veteran is in police custody tonight. Michael Vaughn barricaded himself inside his Covington home yesterday. What ensued was a 20-hour SWAT situation that ended after police say he shot at them and tried setting his house on fire. Local 12's Brad Underwood tells us how text messages and social media triggered the whole ordeal.
Well, for the time being, Michael Vaughn is facing charges of attempted murder of a police officer. He was brought here to UC Hospital after surrendering to police just after 2 p.m. But it wasn't an easy surrender. SWAT spent more than 20 hours trying to get Vaughn out of his home. For much of the weekend, this normally quiet section of Latonia was everything but. SWAT teams, police, and fire spent hours in the neighborhood armed, trying to get 43-year-old Army veteran Michael Vaughn to surrender.
And then they'd go away, and then they'd come back around from a different direction, and this would go on, hour after hour after hour of this.
According to police, the investigation began at 11 a.m. on Saturday when they received calls that Vaughn was suffering from post-traumatic stress and making threatening phone calls to people. Vaughn also took to Facebook. His first post, important announcement at 6 p.m. Later on, thanks to my girlfriend, I have nothing to live for. So Covington police sent a tactical team to Vaughn's house.
That team drew heavy fire from the third floor.
During negotiations and in between shooting at officers, Vaughn continued to post to Facebook. This time, shots fired at my house. A little later, this will not end well. My kids are asleep and not aware of this drama. In other posts, Vaughn also claimed to have weapons and even night vision.
Negotiations with Mr. Vaughn ensued.
Covington Police Chief Spike Jones says throughout the standoff, there was communication with Vaughn, and eventually they got him to release his 3 children, ages 15, 11, and 5. With the children now safe, police focus on getting Vaughn out.
He states he is in the basement, as he puts it in a quote, perfect kill zone, right? He also states he has 5 gallons of gasoline.
Then, after a period of silence and no activity, Vaughn opened fire.
At that point, Mr. Vaughn once again engaged our officers from the elevated position with a rifle.
Now daylight, residents once again gathered in the streets to watch.
You heard that machine gun go blah, 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 about 20 times at least.
Then police fired back, hitting Vaughn in the upper arm, but Vaughn wasn't done.
Mr. Vaughn did manage to ignite the house before surrendering to police.
The fire was put out and Vaughn was under arrest. Vaughn's military service was brought up several times by police during the standoff, as well as numerous posts through social media. As an Army officer, Vaughn was investigated for sexual harassment. He was also removed from a leadership position, and his security clearance was revoked. Locally, in 2013, he was arrested twice for violating protection orders. At UC Hospital, Brad Underwood, Local 12 News.
For the majority of the standoff, people were kept in the dark. Police not only shut off the power and the gas to Vaughn's home, but nearby homeowners say they lost power as well. Some say when the standoff ended, their power was still off, and many of them were not really sure what exactly was going on.
When I got up this morning, it's still going on, no power in the neighborhood. The whole neighborhood's out of power because of it.
That's a drag because we don't, everything's rotting in there. I mean, literally. I mean, it's really bad in the fridge. But what are you going to do?
Duke Energy says all the power in the neighborhood has now been restored.